Is it possible that our pocket notebook can replace our smartphone? However, both are almost of the same size. But to answer that question, we have to find out why we actually write. Well, everyone's not a writer. So, what's the objective of writing? If you're not writing a story, if you're not writing for your upcoming book, then what you're writing for? Journaling usually seems to be a hobby or habit that seems to be somewhat non objective. But that's not the case. There is a vast amount of history involved in journaling, and also it helps one to improve in everyday routine, and in fact, it can save lives. If I tell you my experience, I would say writing helps in my everyday task a lot. However, whatever I write, it helps me in everyday routines. It helps me break down my mental procedures. It helps me regulate my emotions. It helps me when there is no one around. However, not every time when I'm writing, I'm not sure about what I'm writing, but still it is helping. So the question is still there. Why do we write? So this whole process is starting from your pen and ending on your paper. But before that, when you pick up the pen, there are actually some urges, that are happening into your brain. And those urges mostly are unsettling. Well, everyone experiences a different kind of concept and they have a different kind of relationship with writing. Well, I'm going to tell you my experience. Well, when I pick up the pen, what happens in my mind is there's a cluster. There's a cluster of questions, there is a cluster of everyday mumble jumble, there's a cluster of people chattering about. As an introverted mind, that's a lot to digest. So, what I do is I pick up a pen, I write down everything, and things get organized. And an organized mind is way better than disorganized mind. How? Well, half of the problems are solved when you know the problem. But when your mind is clustered, you don't know the problem because you are just worried about so many things. You just feel like a little bit overwhelmed about the thoughts you're having everyday routine. So what is the solution? You just write down, you organize them, you find what are the actual problems. When you are surprised that actually there were not any problems, I was just being dramatic about the amount of thoughts, and most of them were irrelevant to my life directly. That's the magic of journaling. Now, what I do is I pick up a pen, I just write randomly. But you don't have to do that every time. Not every time I do this. There are times when I write with an objective. So for this part, we will discuss further about writing, discussing about different times of writing, different types of writing, how can every type shift your brain, and which one is helpful for your daily routine, your lifestyle. You can adopt all of them or some of them or maybe one of them. Now I will go through what journal or what notebook I use for different journaling purposes. So first of all, I would like to introduce you guys with this journal notebook. So this is a leather bound with a yellowish texture inside, and also it's not too big in size and not too small in size. So I have this one also. This is of A6, but this is not convenient for me to journal about, because when I am yapping about my life, when I just don't have any clue what to write, I use this one. This is my go-to journal, and I have the previous versions. This is I got in 2025, and up till now it still have pages. I think I didn't write in it that much. The second one is this A6, one of the finest journals that I have. You can see it's a blocked version, and the nice thing about this journal is the hardbound outside. I just love it, and the last page is yellowish. Okay, what do I use this for? I use this as my commonplace book. What is a commonplace notebook? Commonplace notebook is usually for your quotes. Simple. But nowadays people use it for multiple purposes. For example, I use it for inspirational ideas sometimes, because sometimes you have it's just around myself, and when I find something out of the box, I write it down. I write quotes, I write very funny statements from the book, I write life lessons from the books, mostly the expressions from the books that I read. This is the book for that. And let's move forward. This is the size of the notebook that I use for my educational purposes. Like, I'm a student of psychology, so whenever I take lecture notes, I use this size. This is a spiral binding, and I must tell you, spiral binding is the best you can find among the notebooks because of this feature. Obviously, you can just fold it and use it from any page, and you won't be using the old ones, you know what I mean. Now let's move forward to our fourth notebook. That is almost the size of my smartphone, a little bigger than that, but I use this when I'm traveling because I normally use my fanny bag, and in that bag I can't fit in my journal. But this is pretty sleek, and it also has a leather bound, which I love, and this is just perfect for writing my thoughts. Normally I use this when I'm going on a hike, and when I'm at the top of the hill, all the thoughts that have been coming in my mind while I'm ascending upwards, this helps me because I lock in my thoughts and write in this book. Now you guys might be thinking, that's a lot of notebooks. Well, let me tell you, when I was not into writing, I was not much of a writer, or I didn't discover this side of myself, I also thought that in my smartphone I have a notes app. I used to write everything in my notes app, and sometimes I organize that, sometimes I don't. But in this way, I know in what notebook I have written what kind of stuff, and every notebook is a signature. It has its own character. Whenever I see one of my notebooks sitting around, I know the vibe they're giving. So that is totally a different story. So we get back to our question. Does the notebook replace your phone? Well, we are kind of close to that answer. This is the size of a spiral binding notebook I normally use whenever I am journaling about my business. Okay, the business journal is mostly the ideas. Sometimes you are doing like a weekly planner, you are creating some raw stuff for your presentation or your Excel files or whatever. So this is happening around this size of spiral binding notebook. This spiral binding notebook is very fine, and well, in this notebook I have written a lot of things, but normally I use this kind of notepads or notebooks for my finance journal. So what I do in my finance journal is I write whatever spendings or whatever earnings I get, I write in that notebook. So what I do is for the whole day I write all the transactions roughly on this notebook, and at the end of the day I just copy paste them in my PC. Okay, now other than that, I also have some other kinds of notebooks lying around and piling up, and they all serve a different purpose due to their nature. Like this is the notebook I use for my scripts, uh, scripts for YouTube, scripts for my videos, etc., or any ideas that come up in mind. And I also use A4 size sheets for writing. Somehow I feel like when you are writing a novel, you don't know in what chapter you are, or what part you gonna write first. So it's better that you use single pages, and then after that you pile them according to the story you want to present, like editing, post editing. Now, recently I've been using these kind of notepads and sometimes sticky notes for writing. Now I write like short notes kind of stuff and place them around on my table, or sometimes I put them in my pockets. So just to remind myself my TDLs for every day and all that stuff. So this is also the part of my journaling journey. Now to answer the question, does it actually mean that your phone can replace your notebook? Okay, for the phone part, yes, it helped me. It helped me a lot replacing my phone addiction by writing, but it helps me a lot more than just my phone addiction. It helped me find out a very therapeutic hobby. So what I think is, phone and writing are not that much directly relatable. But one thing is for sure, when you are journaling, when you're putting time into writing, when you are giving yourself a space where you are connecting with the pages, with the real connection, that requires time, and it is taking a part of your day. That part of your day could be the one you will be spending time on your phone. So, yeah, that is a healthy activity to replace your phone addiction. But to say that having a notebook can cure all your phone diseases, that is a little over the board. And for the last note, I would like to add that writing can save you a lot of time, can save you help your problems yourself. Instead of finding a person and rant about your everyday feelings, not everyone have that kind of friend. So writing could help you, and journaling could be your best friend. Trust me, try it if you haven't tried it yet, and let me know if you were doing that already. How was your experience? And if you tried uh, using my advice, then do let me know how you felt. What change did it make in your life? So, write everything down and be productive.